Hello, beauties. We are back with another podcast, another You Can Call Me Goddess podcast. I'm sorry, there's like a hair in my lip gloss, but we're going to continue. Who knows that feeling where you constantly you put lip gloss on and then your hair is like getting stuck in it? So annoying. Anyways, that's not what we're here for. We're going to be talking about body image and the real root cause of why you're struggling with your body image and why you may have like body dysmorphia, and also how some of us can have that when we're in social settings, but we don't have it when we're on our own, and why that could be, right? So as you guys may know, I struggled with my body image for many, many years, and I really had to work through a lot of my self-image issues and healing. And I've been through many fitness transformations. I used to be quite chubby as a kid, lost a lot of weight, then gained a bit of weight back, then ended up going into a bodybuilding competition, was totally ripped, the most fit that I'd ever been in my life. And then I gained the weight back, even though I was putting a lot of work in. I was doing everything that I was in my competition and maybe even more, and I gained the weight back. So after that, I had to go on this self-image healing mission and figure out what my body was communicating to me. And if you've listened to the previous episodes of this podcast, you will now have an understanding about body reflections. If you don't, I have so many resources to help you understand what it means when your body's reflecting things to you. It's in my free membership. It's in the podcast. Go and listen and get an idea of what your body could be reflecting to you and how your body is communicating. But for today, I am assuming that you have a basic understanding of what this is, that your body's communicating to you, that the only reason you could be struggling with ailments, weight gain, bloating, all of these things is because there is an emotional disbalance that your body's trying to tell you, because your body wants you to up level, right? So that goes beyond just like the physical things. It also has to do with your perception and how you feel about your body. Because you could be bloating and carrying extra weight and, maybe not have the body of your dreams, but feel absolutely fine and not worry about it and be super confident, right? That is a possibility. But we're going to talk about, even if you maybe feel like you've got a good body, or if you don't, what the root causes of self-image in combination with like your body image. So self-image and body dysmorphia, and what that says about what is going on, and why, even though maybe you're putting in all the work and you're doing everything right, you can't seem to feel that confidence. You can't seem to feel good about your body, and you're struggling with that. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because actually one of my members reached out in our chat, in our group chat, and said to me, hey, I'm so worried. Like, how do I deal with this? What is going on here? I'm going to a party and we're all going in bikinis, and I'm suddenly feeling super insecure. Like, I don't want to go. I want to skip it because I'm feeling so insecure in my body, uncomfortable in my body. And I know this feeling so well. And I think we all know this feeling. The moment we're like around other women and we're getting dressed up, or we're in bikinis or things like that, immediately those self-image issues come up. Not only that, like even when you're on your own and summer is around the corner, like immediately you start getting nervous because people are going to be showing up in bikinis, in like summer clothes, so showing off a lot more skin, showing off their bodies, and you feel like you can't hide away anymore in your comfortable clothes and things like that. But also it starts triggering those emotions of not feeling good enough, of not feeling like you are in the best shape of your life, of like you start criticizing yourself more and more and more. And we don't want that, because if you've listened to previous podcasts and if you've listened to the series in the free membership, you will by now understand that when you hold onto body weight, that has to do with you beating yourself up. So if you're constantly criticizing yourself for not being good enough, you're actually just feeding the cycle of not shifting your body, because you're not feeling empowered and strong in your body, right? So what I want to talk about today is like, what is the root cause of your body image, struggling with your body image? What is the root cause of seeing something in the mirror that isn't even there, like body dysmorphia? What is the root cause of all of these emotions and how are we going to shift it? Because when you really truly think about it, when you're working towards your dream body, it isn't actually the dream body you're after. When you're working towards a specific look, it isn't the specific look you're after. It's the feeling that look will give you, right? It's the confidence that look will give you, right? Like you can be more free. You can do more things. You feel like you can take on the world. That is what you're actually after. When you go down to the root of it, because if we were all blind, or if we didn't have social media, or we didn't have TV shows and things like that, and billboards and things like that, you wouldn't even know what the beauty standard is. So every couple of years, the beauty standard changes. And based on that new beauty standard, we decide whether we're hot or not, whether we're sexy or not. So if that wasn't a thing, how could we measure if someone is beautiful? Well, we would measure it by their energy, by their enthusiasm, by how they present themselves, by their confidence, right? I'm sure you've seen those like videos before. I mean, I have, where there was like like a lady dressed up, and they show you, and you've heard of this before, they show you how they look when they're not feeling confident and they're walking around kind of hiding themselves. And then the moment they stand up and are more confident and they turn on their confidence, and they feel sexy and beautiful, no matter what they like look like, they immediately become more attractive, right? Because it's about the energy. It's about what they're sending out. And if you know anything about what we've discussed so far, your energy means everything. That is what people are reading into about you. So if you're not feeling confident, they are going to keep supporting that belief that you're not confident. So yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself already, but I just want to show you that the beauty standards of the world are created somewhere above by, the bigger people, and they decide like what is the beauty standard of the year and the reason, or the next few years. And the reason they keep swapping is so that we can never be satisfied where we're at. And why would we never be satisfied with where we're at? So that we keep buying diets, going into diets, we keep changing our look, we keep changing our style, we keep changing our hair, we keep changing everything, and we feed the system. We keep spending money on these things, right? It's great to capitalize on when we are not confident, not happy with what we look like all the time, because we're constantly then changing in a way to get value or appreciation from others. So just that alone should already show you that that others are deciding what your beauty standards are. So what is actual beauty? Actual beauty, when you think about someone who is beautiful, what do you find beautiful about them? It's probably their energy that they carry, that they feel sexy, that they feel hot, right? Think of Megan Fox, for example. She has this like a mysterious energy about her, and that's what makes her sexy, right? This confidence that she carries with her. That's what makes her sexy. But nowadays, we are all kind of morphing into the same thing. And so there's no uniqueness anymore. When back in the day or in the past, uniqueness is what made you sexy, is what made you hot. But now we all want to be the same thing. And that is because we've been programmed to think that we should all be the same thing. And think about also when you think of the world and society and things like that, if we're all morphing into the same thing, then what is beauty after that? There's nothing unique anymore about that. So I just want you to realize in this moment that, these beauty standards that you're trying to reach or achieve, or that you're comparing yourself against, are something that someone higher up has decided, and not source or God, but you know what I mean? Someone who's trying to get more money out of the system has decided is the new beauty standard. And it isn't actually even beautiful when you lose all of your uniqueness, when you lose all of your spark, when you just become one of the other people. When you think of exotic birds, right? I'm sorry to compare you to a bird, but we find the ones that stand out, that are different. We find those beautiful. So why are we all trying to become the same thing? Why are you comparing yourself to the same thing, like copies of one another? I just want to leave you with that, because I want you to realize that your uniqueness is what makes you absolutely freaking gorgeous. So now that we've discussed that and we've worked through that, I want you to think about, okay, if you don't feel sexy on your own and you don't feel that energy on your own, who are you comparing yourself against? And why are you not happy with what you see? So the emotional root cause is when you think of body reflections, your body is trying to make you aware of an imbalance in another area of life. So the reason you are not feeling comfortable and sexy in your body right now is because you're not feeling comfortable or sexy in an area of life, right? So your body's just reflecting to you where you aren't feeling comfortable or sexy in other areas of life. And the moment you start shifting and seeing that not only your body is absolutely gorgeous and perfect, but your life is absolutely gorgeous and perfect, and you can start seeing how your life is absolutely gorgeous and perfect, your body will shift as well. And what you need to start seeing to do that is seeing the things that you are struggling with in your life and struggling within your body, how those are absolutely perfect for where you're at right now. And when you start shifting this, everything starts to change. So that is what your body is trying to make you aware of. And the beauty of that is when you start seeing, that is also body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia is seeing something that isn't there, right? So you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing something totally opposite of what is actually happening. And I had this, like I will tell you, when I was competing in a body building competition, it's already, oh my God, I can't believe it's already 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I competed in a bodybuilding competition and I knew I was ripped and I knew I was fit, but my body image was so out of whack that I went to, I went to the changing store, I think after I decided to buy some new clothes for the first time after my competition. And I decided to go to my favorite store and I grabbed clothes in my old sizes. So an S and an M, I think, in the sizes that I have now, S and M. And so I grabbed those clothes, but I was so freaking skinny. I was like basically like malnourished, like so skinny, but I didn't see that. I saw myself as full and muscular. That's how I saw myself. But if you see pictures, and I'm sure you may have seen them on my social media or on some of my website pages, I was just skinny. I was extremely skinny. I was very like underweight for my height because I'm quite tall. I'm 5'9", 5'10", 5'9", and I weighed like nothing. I was just muscle and and skin. And so I went into the store and I grabbed my old sizes and I put them on, and I was so confused because even the small was hanging off of my body. And I was so confused by that. And I was so like, why is this hanging off of my body? Like, that is crazy. Like, and so I remember going to my mom and I was like, Mom, it's crazy. I need like an extra small because these clothes are hanging off my body. And she looked at me and she's like, yeah, Manouk, have you seen yourself? Like, you're like, there's nothing left of you. And this is how your brain starts playing tricks on you, because you have these internal belief systems that you're constantly reaffirming in your mind. So a belief is just a thought that you've been repeating over a long period of time. So you're constantly repeating that same thought, and after a while it becomes a belief. So when you believe you're big, when you believe you're heavy, and you think you're just a larger girl, right? For example, which is what I believed my whole life. That is something that I just programmed into myself. I just believed that was the case. And over many, many years, that programming solidified. Because if you, again, know my story, I lived abroad. I lived in Asia. When I was 6 years old, we moved there, and I lived there for 4 years. And because we were in Asia, and I'm a Dutch girl, and the Dutch are tall, and I was a tall girl, I immediately stuck out like a sore thumb. I felt like I was large. I felt like I was big. So I kept telling myself that because I was comparing myself to everybody else around me, and I realized I was large. I was sometimes taller than some of the adults already when I was getting older. And then I started putting on weight as well because, I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but you start realizing your identity and you start wanting to protect yourself. And so I started putting on weight at age 10. So not only was I large, but I was getting like tall, large, but I was getting chubby. So this became like a trigger word for me as well. When people say that I'm large when they mean that I'm tall, I immediately think like, oh my God, do I look fat? Do I look big? Because I have always been used to being the girl that sticks out. Which brings me to another point, by the way. We have, with today's society, we have been told that sticking out is not a good thing, right? Like we're afraid to stand out in certain ways, right? Because we're going into this whole woke stuff, which I'm not going to get into, but now the whole pendulum is swinging in a different direction. However, now that's becoming the norm. So if you're not in that, then you're also sticking out. But so it's becoming unsafe to stand out. So as a young girl, even in that moment, being taller than the rest of the girls, being bigger than the rest of the girls in my school, and maybe even the guys, I felt like I stuck out. And so we want to hide. We want to be part of everybody else because we're afraid to step into our power. So part of the reason that you may be afraid and not wanting to show off your body and not wanting to show off who you are, not saying that you have to, but when you're in a social setting and you want to feel comfortable and confident and you want to wear something that you actually want to wear and not something that fits in with everybody else, is because you're struggling with that, because we've been programmed to believe that sticking out is a bad thing. Even when you decide to follow like your soul pull, like what I've been doing when I decided to go do a bodybuilding competition and that wasn't the norm to stand in a bikini ripped on stage, right? People are like, this girl is crazy. Like my dad, for example, was like, what the hell is she doing? Because we've been like basically programmed to believe that you shouldn't shine, you shouldn't stand out, like you should just be normal amongst the rest of us. Like in Dutch, we even have a saying which is like doe normaal, dan doe je al gek genoeg, which basically translates to like be normal, then you're already crazy enough. I do not abide by that. I'd rather be crazy and stand out. And we've basically been told that standing out, doing something out of the ordinary is unsafe, right? Is not what you're meant to be doing. So, and then you will get picked on. Like think of stories of girls that got picked on, or your own story when you get picked on, and even other people's stories. The reason kids would pick on other kids, I'm sorry. That was my language twisting. Kids is because they had something unique and different about them, which is basically testing you in feeling confident in who you are. And when we're kids, obviously, we are not solidified in who we are yet. We are still exploring in who we are. And when you're surrounded by other kids, you're basically being challenged to feel strong and powerful in who you are. And when you don't feel that, then that compounds. And every time you stand out and every time you're different and every time you want to shine, you'd rather hide away because it's safer instead of stepping into your full power, which is also part of you being you, which is also part of you showing off who you are. And I know that so many of us struggle with this. So many of us struggle with showing who we truly are because we are afraid of how people will perceive us. So that is extremely that is a big part of it. Feeling unsafe in showing who we are and showing who we want to be and standing out. So we've been programmed to not want to stand out and to want to look like everybody else, look like the norm, look like what is deemed beautiful by the rest of the world, by society. So taking that back to when you are in a group setting, and I know this because I had it actually recently. I'm feeling really great in my body lately. I have my ups and downs because obviously I'm human and I know my body's still reflecting me. So I'm learning where my insecurities still lie. And I know that my body is literally just my coach. So my body's just telling me where my imbalances lie, like what I still need to shift and work through and listen to and see if I can do that by shifting my beliefs. And knowing this, I'm still obviously like getting things from the universe so that I can help you guys even better and refresh my memory of how certain feelings are. Because I was with friends at, one of my friends rented a villa and we were in the, by the pool and I was wearing my bikini. And in that moment, there are other women in bikinis. And the funny thing is, well, it's not funny, but I know that we are all self-conscious in that moment. I think we're all thinking about our bodies in that moment, because that is the moment you start comparing yourself to others. When you're in your own safe space, you feel, okay, I know I look sexy, I feel good, I feel blah, blah, because you see yourself alone. The moment you're being compared to others, you start questioning in that moment whether you're feeling good or you're not looking good, right? Because you have like comparison material. So I want you to think about like, what could that be reflecting to you? That could be reflecting to you that in an area of life, you feel confident until you are surrounded by other people. So for example, if I feel confident in my business, right? And I feel confident in what I'm doing in my business, and I feel confident that my business is elevating. But then the moment I'm around my family and they start asking me questions, that confidence starts going down because they can feel my insecurities in certain areas. And they're going to pick at those insecurities because the universe wants me to up level and feel super stable and strong in where I'm at. So the universe is going to reflect back at me where there is still room for me to grow and feel stronger and more rooted to my belief systems. So the way to grow is through obstacles. So you're going to get those obstacles. And your body and what you're feeling in that moment when you're next to other people is your body reflecting to you, hey, you feel confident about an area of life or in all areas of life until you're surrounded by other people. So in that moment, you need to show yourself that you still feel confident and that you're still rooting to your belief systems. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying, because I know this is already quite advanced stuff to understand how this all works together and how everything correlates. And I think, it all trickles down into one another. So when you're feeling confident in your business and you're feeling confident in your life, in all areas of your life, then there is no disbalance anymore, and you wouldn't feel unconfident in certain places. So you wouldn't feel unconfident in your body because you've got that locked down. You know that nothing can rock you, right? So that is all your body's trying to tell you. On top of that, there is this thing that I realized when I was doing like a read on this situation, and I realized that a lot of the time, the reason we start getting like unconfident around other people is because we feel like we can't control other people's opinions and thoughts, right? So there's this lack of control. There's this powerlessness because we don't know what they're thinking. In our mind, we think that we don't know what they're thinking. And we're worried that they're going to judge us. But why are we worried that they are going to judge us? What are we afraid of? It all has to do with self-worth and self-image again. If you're feeling confident in who you are, in what you represent, in what you do, then why would it matter what other people were thinking, right? Why would you want to control what other people think? And here's the other kicker. You can control what other people think. You don't know it yet, but the only reason people are thinking or saying certain things about you is because, and if it's coming back to you, is because you're believing that about yourself. Because if you've listened to some of the podcasts, we've spoken about the creator field. The creator field is your energetic body, basically. It's part of your energetic body. It's the field that creates literally everything around you. So if you're constantly telling yourself that you're not confident, that you're not feeling sexy, that your body isn't good enough, you're literally broadcasting that out. And literally in the Q&A that we had yesterday, we spoke about how we are picking up on other people's thoughts. And because we can pick up on other people's thoughts, other people can pick up on our thoughts. So they're going to read that in our creator field. They're going to hear the frequency of those thoughts, and they're going to start reflecting back to us that you're not confident. So they're going to either think the thoughts, or they're going to ask you questions or say things to you that are going to trigger that insecurity because they are reading that in your energetic field. When you feel super sexy and you feel amazing and you feel like you're on top of the world, then that's what they're going to be reading in your creator field. And that's also what I mean with like your body language also expresses a lot. So if your body language, that's a similar thing as your energy. If you're feeling confident, then you're going to look confident, you're going to look sexy, and people aren't going to question anything about that. but they are going to pick on any idea that you may have negative about you, and that's what you're going to hear back. That's what you're going to, and what does that do? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The moment you hear something negative about yourself, you're going to lock that negative comment into your mind, and it's going to pile up on the belief system that you had. So for example, and this is another thing, the way you perceive it twists as well. So I'll give you an example. If I'm, for example, at the beach, right? And I'm wearing a bikini and I get a comment, depending on where I'm at energetically. And the comment is, wow, you have such a unique, strong body shape. And this actually happened to me actually walking down the street. A lady said to me, not many women look like you here. Everybody wants to be skinny here. And they don't want to look like you. No, they don't look like you. So you're very unique. You're a very beautiful lady. You're very unique, but nobody looks like you. Most people here are skinny. So can you see how I can take that in two ways? And my brain did go to both ways for a second. So one way, the first instinct I had, oh, she's complimenting me. The second instinct was my old pattern and my old belief where I started questioning, wait, is she saying that I'm large? But I don't go to muscular and fit. And the reason I don't go there is because my programming is so deeply ingrained to not want to stick out and to not want to stand out and to not want to be like bigger, right? Bigger is like a triggering word, or was a triggering word for me. It's still sometimes. I'm so much like, I'm not as triggered anymore, but it's one of those words that I'm still like working through. Bigger, right? So the moment I hear that, I immediately start thinking, oh, do I look large? Do I do this? Do I do that? I didn't this time because I immediately like took it as a compliment. But to give you an example, when you're rooted in how you feel about yourself and you feel sexy and confident, you're going to take it in the positive way only. So it's all your perception, and where your belief system is at right now dictates how you feel about yourself. Because if you constantly, because I bet you that you hold on to the negative comments more than you do the positive comments. Why? Because we emotionally connect to the negative comments more. It's a more rooted, heavier emotion because it attacks something that we are already insecure about. Right? So we discard the good comments because somewhere we don't believe that the good comment is right? We think like, oh, that can't be true because we're so rooted to the belief that we aren't good enough. Or do you know that instinct where someone compliments you and you immediately feel like you have to compliment them back because otherwise you're not like in balance or not in fair exchange? Like you can't just take a compliment. When you feel like you can't do that, you can't receive things. So not only is your energy blocked off to receiving compliments and beautiful things, but also to other things in life because you're not rooted to the belief that you're beautiful and that you deserve that compliment. The moment that you root to you deserving that compliment, not only will you get more of those compliments, but you won't feel the instant need to balance the playing fields because you feel insecure about the fact that someone gave you a compliment. So you have to give it back immediately, right? So that you're not the one that has to carry that and feel like, oh my God, that's not true. Like, oh no, now we're not balanced and blah, 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 right? And this takes time because I had this too where I constantly wanted to give a compliment back immediately because you feel like indebted, right? That someone has given you a compliment. If someone is giving you a compliment, they're doing that because they're seeing something within you. And sometimes what helps me is thinking about if I were to compliment someone, do I need a compliment back straight away? No, that compliment is coming from my heart and I want them to know that. So why would they need to hear it back? Otherwise, the person wouldn't have said it to you. Okay, so I know there's a lot of moving parts in what we're talking about today, but the root cause of a lot of these things is like an imbalance that you're feeling within yourself in a broader, like if you go bigger picture in a broader area of life. So next time you're feeling like unconfident in your body or you're feeling like you're comparing yourself, I want you to ask yourself, where else am I comparing myself to others? Where is this insecurity truly coming from? And then I want you to ask yourself, what makes me unique and what makes me beautiful and sexy. And I want you to tap into that sexy energy. I'm sure we've all felt sexy before. You know the energy. I want you to remember that feeling. What caused you to feel sexy and gorgeous in that moment? I want you to remember that. And I want you to think, what caused you to feel sexy and gorgeous in that moment? Can you tap into that energy? Is there something you did to tap into that energy? Can you reconnect to that energy? The second thing that I want you to start doing, or that will help if you're feeling unconfident, we're actually going to give you a few more. I was thinking of something else as well, is to, as we've just discussed, beliefs are just thoughts that you've repeated over and over in your mind, and you found proof of those thoughts, and then you've emotionally connected to those thoughts. So therefore, they are becoming ingrained. And because the negative emotion is often a lot heavier than the positive emotion, I want you to start realizing every single time someone gives you a compliment, and I want you to start emotionally feeling that feeling and connecting to that feeling. I want you to think of all the moments that you thought you felt sexy. I want you to emotionally and feel the feeling of feeling sexy, and start recognizing every single time when you feel beautiful, when someone compliments you, when you're getting that feeling from within. I want you to start clocking and recognizing those moments, because here we are literally reprogramming the mind. And the only way that you can reprogram the mind is to have the emotion follow. You have to link it to an emotion. And that's why the negative emotions are so much stronger than the positive ones, because it weighs heavier in our minds. It feels like something that is more powerful than the positive. And not only that, we have been so linked, like I said, to the negative emotion that we immediately reject the positive comments because they can't be true. I want you to now accept them as truth. Not only that, that I want you to, whenever you see something in someone else, that means it exists within you. So you need to start seeing how the thing you see in another person is something that you have yourself. These are all things that like your perception is everything. Your belief systems is everything. So when you start shifting your belief systems, magic starts happening, because you start shifting your energetic field to attract more things into your life. And that's why all of this stuff is interlinked. So when you start feeling more confident in your body, confident in yourself, you start feeling more confident in other areas of life. When you start feeling more confident in other areas of life, you start feeling more confident in your body. They are all interlinked, because the more rooted you are to your true self and what you're meant to be doing here, the less confused and disconnected you are. And I also want you to remember, the more that you are disconnected from your self-image and trusting in your own beauty, in your own uniqueness, in your own power, the more you can be controlled and manipulated, and the more you're being disconnected from your power. So of course it's in the great, no, not the greater good. It's beneficial to large corporations that you are disconnected from that, because then you'll constantly be consuming and searching instead of rooting to your power and becoming the most powerful person that you are, the most powerful version of yourself that you are, which you are already. So we literally just need to deprogram the negative thoughts and reprogram the internal true belief systems that you have. And I want you to start doing that today by recognizing when someone is giving you a compliment and locking that in and taking a moment to emotionally connect to that comment. You know, the moment when someone gives you a compliment, allow that compliment in. Connect with it, feel it, be grateful for it. That's the universe giving you something to connect to prove to yourself that you are gorgeous and that you are amazing and that you are sexy. Do things that make you feel sexy. Connect to those feelings. Think of an activity. Like, honestly, when I go to the gym and I work out and I feel strong and confident and I wear a cute outfit, I feel extremely sexy because I feel capable, because I feel confident, because I know what I'm doing. So is there an activity that you can do that makes you feel capable, sexy, and confident? And start connecting to those moments. because I know that you know how to tap into that energy. You've tapped into that energy before. But the moment something energetically makes you feel like, there's a comparison or other people's thoughts and beliefs are getting in the way of that, that's when you need to see, oh, so here at my core, I feel sexy, but other people's opinions are making me question myself. So in what area of life are you not rooted enough to how you feel about yourself? And that's why you're feeling wobbly in those areas. And it's all part of a bigger picture. It's always all going to link to something bigger in your life that your body is trying to communicate to you, because your body wants you to step into your power fully. And when you think of like the hot girl in school, right? Think about the hot girl in school. What made her so sexy and hot? It was her confidence. Think about your favorite character in a TV show. Why did you want to be her? Because of her confidence, her energy, what she was embodying. So tap into that energy. Start shifting into that, because you have that within you 1000%. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to perceive it in others. So with that, I've given you quite a bit of homework to do over till the next podcast, or for how long. Keep connecting to those positive emotions. Keep feeling that sexiness. Keep seeing how you need to deprogram those limiting beliefs and start thinking about, where did this start? And start realizing that maybe the reason you're afraid to feel sexy in your body and you're afraid to be recognized and seen is because we've been programmed to believe that it's unsafe to do that it's not the right decision, that we better just keep our mouths shut and just fit in with everybody else. But that's not what makes you beautiful. What makes you beautiful is your uniqueness. It's your uniqueness. And that goes into a whole nother topic that we'll talk about another time, where people get plastic surgery and things to fit in, but actually it could make things much worse, because you're not getting to the root cause of why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, right? So these are all ways that we're trying to get out of these internal beliefs, but you're actually not. And that's what I experienced in my bodybuilding competition. After my first bodybuilding competition, my body really wanted to show me. My body wanted to show me in the first competition that I was capable, that I could shift my body into anything that I desired, that if I put my mind to something, I could do it. But after that, my body wanted me to disconnect from my physical appearance and show me that if I kept beating myself up, and if I kept literally, like my mom would say, that I was like whipping myself on the back constantly and beating myself up and abusing myself and thinking that I can always do better and I was never doing enough, and that my body wanted me to see how I was already enough, and I needed to start shifting that internal belief before my body wanted to shift for me, because that is what it's about. When you don't tap into your power and you don't actually get to the root cause of why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, you don't actually tap into your power. And that's why everything that you're feeling about your body, everything that you're feeling when things are happening, all triggers, everything is showing you exactly where you need to shift to upgrade your life. So be grateful for them. I want you to start being grateful for them. Be grateful for your uniqueness. Why does that make you absolutely perfect? And who decides what is beautiful? You do at the end of the day. And what energy is it that makes you beautiful? What energy is it that makes others beautiful? And that's the energy that you're going to tap into. Okay, thank you so much again for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And leave any comments if you have any questions on this topic, or if you want to go down more of these topics, let me know, because this podcast is for you and I want to help you get the most out of these things. And if you want to dive into more content, we have a free membership. I have just finalized the first series, the Dream Body Activation series. It is available now in the membership. And when you join the membership, you will also be first to know about the free live Q&As and webinars that I'm hosting, and if we have any guests. So the links will be below in the show notes. Come join us in the free membership. Start diving more into body reflections and what it all means, how we're going to shift out of it, and how you're going to tap into the most powerful version of yourself and unlock your gifts, your magic, your power, everything. Thank you so much for listening, and have an amazing rest of your day.